welcome to the math video, paper 1, non-calculator foundation tier. and when you see this question like this, I'm sure you've seen a few times in exam every year 7 to year 11s, and no matter how every year it is, people always struggle with something. That's why today we're going to look at it and reread this non-calculator question. You must have ruler, graduate in centimeters and millimeters, protractor, pair of compasses, pen, HB pencils, erasers. It could be for that when you like writing in case. Formula sheet enclosed. It just means when you open the page, you'll see the last one and on the side, and then you see 5 questions easy. Tracing paper may be used. So whenever you see like this, if it says tracing paper may use, that could be for the paper. And it says use black ink or ballpoint pen. Fill in the boxes at the top of the pages with your name, center number and Canada number. Answer all questions. Answer the questions in the space provided. There may be more space than you need to. There just means like if you draw like a line like this, you add sentence, that just means your line. You must show all you're working out. Now, not only you showing you're working out, but explaining as well. Diagram are not accurate drawing unless otherwise indicate. Now, when they not drawn, unless it's like in centimeters, calculators may not be used, so that's why it's non-calculator. They give us information. The total mark for this paper is 80 marks. That's crazy. The marks for each question are shown in brackets. Use this as a guide as to how much time to spend on each question. Do this for spend like a minute or so. Yeah, but if you got stuck in like a few minutes, go to next. Before you start, they will give you advice. Read each question carefully before you start to answer it. Try to answer every question. Check your answers if you have time at the end. Now this is a GCSE 921, and I already put my answers, and I've been doing my tests recently. Ever since I recorded, I don't know, somehow it just cut off. So that's why I already put writing. I'm not gonna do it again. So let me know if anything that doesn't make sense, or if you give me a comment, just let me know. We're going to go to question now. Write 0.3 as a fraction now. When you see as a fraction, do 0.3 as over 1. Because 1 times 0.3 is gives us 0.3. And you times by 10, you get 3 over 10. Work out 3 squared. Now, when you see this exponent, you would follow 3 times 3 because it multiplied by itself, you get 9. Work out 20 divided by in bracket 3 plus 2 now. When we have like these, we do a BODMAS if you're not sure. BODMAS. Now, B stands for bracket, O or I stands for index, D stands for division, M stands for multiplication, A stands for addition, and S is subtraction. Now, 20 divided something, you do first bracket, 3 plus 2 is 5. 20 divided by 5 gives us 4. Write down the factor of 60 that is between 8 and 14. Now, if you got stuck on this one, do 160. And then you know 2 is over 30, isn't it? And then you keep going until when they say between 8 and 14. That could be 320. That could be 12 over 5. That could be 5 over 12. It could be... That could be also 4 over 15, so on. But if you do 15, because then it's going to be lesser, it's going to be more than 14. So that's how you get 12, and that's your answer, 12. Oh. Simplify 3 times W times 5 times D. When you see like this, 3 times 5 is 15. W times T is WT. So that's your answer. Faye is planning a trip to a theme park for 1 adult and 2 children. These are the costs for the trip. Total cost of petrol, we got 23. Tickets to the theme park is £33 each adult. £24.50 is each child. When it says 2 children, you times by 2, you get 49 pounds. When we have meals, 15 each adult, 10 each children, you 2 times by 2 there. you circle it for a total. Faye has £200 to spend. She pays all the costs. How much money does she have left? Now, when we add something, we always get how much we spend. So we call spend. So examiner, make sure which method you're doing. So you put spend. This is really important to remember. You don't want to lose mark. When we have £125, yeah? You read the question one more time. How much money does she have? Now, when she has 200, yeah, you take away from that and you get 75 pounds left of this, so you get 75 pounds. That's your answer. Here's the list of 8 letters. Write down the mod. Now, it just means most. Yeah. Another way to think mode, think as when you have a calculator, yeah? If you press mod, think as a mod as in increasing. Yeah, I'm just saying as example. When we have 4 A's, 5 A's, it doesn't matter how much you do. You might think this is 5 A's, but it just tells you write down the mod. It just says letter, so don't be careful. That's all this A. One of the letters is going to be picked. We already know it's 8 letters, so it's 8 par. On the probability scale, mark with across the probability that letter will be B. We have 1, 2, so it's going to be 2 out of 8. Actually, you should just be safe. You can put 2 out of 8, so it's really important to remember. You can simplify 1 over 4. It's a quarter, so you can do 1 over 4 if you want to. Find the probability that this letter will be C. We have 1C, so it's 1 out of 8. Solve m minus 3 equals 14. You do the inverse plus 3, you get 7. Solve 3n plus n. When we see this n, you just add 1. So 4n divided by 4, 24, so you get 6. 2 marks. Find the value of y. When you see this angle of everything, what do they add up to? 360 degrees, right? You take away 70, you calculate how much you get. You get 290. Give a reason for your answer now. You should say they're all add up to 360 degrees of a full turn. That's it. That's all you get. Answer. Another mark. A shop sells jar of coffee. Each jar of coffee costs £4. Michael has £23. Work out the greatest number. Now, when you see the greatest number, what they mean is what is the best way to buy it before you're about to get, let's say, 24, because 4 times 6 is 24, but it's 23. So I think the greatest is 5. You know why? Because then you can find out your calculation how much he get left, £3. Can he buy another coffee for 3? No, because it says cost 4, so the answer is 5. In the sale on Wednesday, jars of coffee are sold at half price. We can try as a half price. Okay. Michael thinks that he can now buy exactly twice. Oh, 23. Is Michael correct? You must agree. Yes, because if they are sold in half price, but he can buy twice for 23. Now, you might think, well, 23 divided by 2 is 11.5 pounds. But when you see this question, 4, right? There, because you actually see it's 4. So you write no. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but let me know if I did it wrong. It meant to be the question, or it meant to be exactly. Let me know if I do the question. You put no, but you need to give more reason. If you just put no, you don't get the mark. You don't get the mark for that. So, because you must give a reason. Let me know if you need a reason for comment. Let me know. Here are 2 triangles on the grid. Triangle B is an enlargement of triangle A. Write down the scale factor now. When they say factor, yeah, how many things is going to be there? 4, right? And how many things is going to be there? 2. So when you have 2, What do I get 2 to 4? You times by 2. Because what do you get factor of 4? 4 over 1, yeah? 2 over 2. And then that's it. So that's 2. On the grid, mark with a cross X. Mark with a cross the center of the number. Now, when you see center, think as a circle, right? This is a center. That is between. Yeah, you got it so far. Good. So I think it's gonna be roughly around here. So it's gonna be around here. Around. Here are two parallelograms on the coordinate grid. Parallelogram D is a reflection of parallelogram C. On the grid, draw the mirror line. When you draw this one, you're gonna do 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then do 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So you know this is all. So you know the line is of 90 degrees because when you fold it in half, it's gonna happen to your paper. Use the paper if you're not sure, but just saying, like, you can count squares. Write down the equation of this mirror line. Now, and lots of people taught this in the school coordinates, but they haven't. I'll say likely they draw. So you do y equals x. Because 2 of 2 gives us 2, 2. 4 over 4 gives us 4. 8, even 100 out of hundreds gives y equals x. So, if the graph is about here, what do you think y equals can be? Let me know in the comments. If this is y equals x, what do you think y is going to be? Let me know in the comments. I'm not going to answer it, but this is a bonus answer. Let me know. Give it a try. Or if you don't know how to answer, just go back to that while I taught it, and then you find out how it is. Ellen spent 120 minutes at the sports center. She played badminton for 50 minutes. She used the swimming pool for 1 out of 6 of 120 minutes. Well, you can convert it in hours if you want to, but minutes is easier. She used the gym for 20% of the 120 minutes. She then spent the rest of the 120 minutes in the cafe. Work out the total in minutes that Len spent in the cafe. Okay. When it says 120, you first take away from 50, you get 70. There's your 70. And then it says she used it for 100 out of 6. You divide it by 6, you get 20. And then you do 70, take away 20, you get 50. And then she spent the rest. When they mean the rest, what do they mean by the rest? And then, oh, sorry, she used the gym for 20%. Because when you divide by 5, you get 24. And then you take away from the rest. So how much time you're going to be in spent cafe? 26. But you see, full marks is crazy just by working out how much you do. Full. There shouldn't be. It should be like 3 or 2, but shoot, full. Wow. Ellen got to the sports center at 1:30 p.m. You can say 1:30. She had asked her friend to meet her in the cafe at 3 p.m. Did Ellen get to the cafe by 3 p.m.? Give a reason for your answer. No. The reason why she can't get back cafe is because when sports center is at 1:30, yeah? Where did she spend it? 120, right? But because we're calculating 3%, right? It's because of an hour, isn't it? We know that 60 minutes, I'm actually gonna write it. We know 60 is an hour, isn't it? So you times by 2. I'm gonna times by 2. I will get 2. So basically it's 2 hours. So did she get in there? So well, let's find out. So when we have 1:30 plus 2, you get 3:30, and it's bigger. It's bigger than 3. It's bigger than 3 p.m. So no. No, she can't get there. It's not enough time. So no. 5 marks. The composite bar chart shows information about the number of people living in a village. Number of people, year. Write down the number of men living in a village in the year 2000. Highlight that one. Remember that. Because that's how you have key on it. When you see this one, it will help you which one out of third chances. This is a man, okay? When you see 2000, yeah, you start from the grid and you go to up about here. Oh, the lines are small. Yeah, you might need a ruler for that, but it's on my computer, sorry. You just need to, oh yeah, it looks perfect, similar to that. So it'd be 10, 20. So each square is 10. So it's going to be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that'll be 60. Remember, each square is 10. Or if you get struggle with this, write it by each square 10. So you don't have to worry about counting it again. Find the number of children living in a village in the year 2010. When we found this one, yeah, we have this sorry, excuse me. We have this children right here. We got 160 to 210. I already counted, so it's how do I get 160 to 210? You take away the easiest way, and you get 50. For the people living in a village in year 2010, find the ratio of the children to total number of men. When we add something to total, why do you think I have 80 children? Because it's the year 20, isn't it? So that's 120. Jenny drives from London to Swinton at the average speed of 54 miles per hour. She drives for 1 hour and a half hours. Work out the distance from London to Swindon. When it says speeds equals distance divided by time. That could be for science, don't forget. So it helps you to remember. When it says per hour, where did she drive for 1 hour and a half for? You add them. So you can either times it, or you can just add them by half, and then you get 81. So that's going to be 81 miles. Edexcel is using a map. The map has a scale of 1 in 25,000. On the map, a road has a length of 6 centimeters. Work out the length in kilometers of a real road. When you see this 1 in 25,000, what do you think is going to be under 6, right? So you times by 6, and then you times by 6, and you get 150,000 kilometers. I hope that makes sense. And if you got stuck with this one, he's saying why you get it. You might wondering why do I times this? Well, because it's a non-calculator, because I can't do it in my head. So I always do this one, zeros, and then I add 3 zeros. So 3 0 plus 1 0 equals 4 0. So that's how you get answer. Oh. Find the coordinates of the midpoint of PQ. This is going to be the line between, so I think it's going to be roughly, wait, let's try. So it's right here. So actually, according to that, this is going to be the midpoint. So it's going to be here. So it's going to be, actually let's change it. It's going to be minus 0.5 and to 0.5. Or you can just do 3 minus 2 minus 2 and then 2 full, and then it's always going to be x, and it's going to be x, and it's going to be y. And then you divide by 2 and you calculate how much each x and then y you get. I'll put x, y for you so to help you. Yeah, if you're not sure what midpoint is, just add them up and then you divide by 2. If you still don't know what you meant to be, let's say 6 between 8 to there, right? The easiest way to remember is 6 plus 8 divided by 2. So 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Can you see the difference right here? Another way to think is 8 take away 6 is 1, right? Now, no, not 1, sorry. Another way you can do this is 8 take away 6 is 2. Now, when 6 plus 2, where do I get from that? You half it. You just half it, and you get 7. So, that's the two difference of meaning. You choose what you want. I think I like the best one because what if they give you like 32 to 36? That's a good question. So better use this one method. Does that make sense or not? Just let me know. Here's a quadratic ABCD. It just add up 360 degrees. Remember that? All the measurements are in the centimeter. The perimeter of A, B, and CD is 52 centimeter. Work out the length of DC. Okay. When we add these two, we add x, we get 6x. Minus 5 plus 1 is minus 4. Minus 4 minus 1 is minus 5. So when we have 6 as minus 5 equals 52, you add plus 5, you cancel these out. You cancel these out. You cancel that. You add them up, you get 57. And then you divide it by 6, you get 9.5x. Now, you might think you're done, but you're actually going to get maybe 3 marks, approximately maybe 2, depending on the question. When it says the length of DC, what do you think you have? 2x, yeah? Where do you get 2x from? We just times by 2, you get 19 centimeters. That's it. That's the total of it. The table shows the number of blue counters in the bag. There is a total of 100 counters in the bag. Asian takes a round of the counter from the bag. Find the probability that the number is not blue. So, when we have 100, yeah, where do you think, okay, what is this one? Blue, right? 30. Well, it just calculated not blue. So you can just do 70 over 100. You can just cancel out, divide it by. You can put a decimal if you want to, but it didn't say fraction, so you can put the decimal, percent, even percent if you want to, but fraction, they're both acceptable. They're all acceptable as long as you simplify, that's fine. But just remember, just cancel this out. The ratio of the number of blue counters to the number of green counters is 2 and 3. Work out the number of green counters in the bag. So when we have 2 and 3 to 5, always put total, remember that? When we have to 30, right? Now, you know this blue counter is 2, right? Now, where do I get 2 to 30? Because we have blue. So you times it by 15. You times by 15, you get 45, and this is work out green, so we know it's out of 3, so you get 45. The number of red counters in the bag is the same as the number of the yellow counters in the bag. Can Bradley be correct? Give a reason for answer. No, because 25 can't be half. Because look, if you do 25 divided by 2, you would get 12.5 of bag. But it needs to be rounded to 2 significant, you get 13 of it. But that just means it's 26. If they were 26 as the same, you would get the answers right. But because it can't be simplified on a half, because, it's only counter, you can't be like a half of red counter, so no, because it can't be half. That's what you need to write down. There are 240 cans of drink on shelf. Each can contains cola or lemonade or orange. There's a ratio to 5 to 3 and 2. 1/2 of cans of lemonade and 1 of 12 of cans of orange are removed. When they mean removed, there just means like they're taking away from drinks. Work out the number of cans as a percentage of they can drink. When it says drink remaining, it just means calculating what drink they left. We know half is 50%. When we calculation we get 8.33 recurring. When we get a total of 58.3, right? What should you do? You take away from that. So you're going to get... The reason why you're taking away is because another way to think, you can just times it by, you get this and this. You calculate that, and you get 41.67. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I don't know if I did that wrong or... Because they did say removed, and it says calculate the total. So, they didn't say the number, they just put the percentage. Let me know if that makes sense. Right, 500 is a per type of power. Okay, we convert as 10, 50. 5, 2 is a prime. 2, 5 is a prime. 5 is a prime. Because 2 and 3 and 5, 7, 11, 13, 15, 19, so on. No, 17 actually, 19, sorry. Now, you write if you're not sure, if you don't know what prime. Prime is like only 2 factors, so it cannot be more than 2 factor. If, for example, 2 is actually the only even prime number. Don't assume 2 is don't think 2 is not prime. Be careful of that. So, it says give us a powers. So 2 times 2, you put 2 squared. 5 times 5 times 5 gives us 5 cubed. If you want to work it out, you can do 5 cubed, 125. 2 squared is 4. And then 4 times 125, you get 500. So that's correct. Work out 1 and a 3/5 plus 2, 1 of quarter. Give your answer as a mixed number. Okay. When we deal with this, you just do 4 times 2 and then add 1. T stands for add. B stands for T times. Tadbit. I think there should be a new name for a rule. Tadbit. Think as a tablet, so that'd be easier to think calculation. First you conversion, and then you add them, and now you do butterfly methods. Yeah, if you forget how to use it, you would just times it by. If you forget how to use it, you just do 2 and 1, and so you get the answer. So 2 times 9 is something, I think that's how you cancel out. So 8 times 4 is 32, 5 times 9 is 45, you add 77, 20, and then to calculate from where it says give you as a mixed number. I don't know, hold on, I don't know if you see it. Oh yeah, as a mixed number. Now, how many 20s can go to 77? You can't, do you? So what do you do? How many 3 can go? The best one, 60, yeah? 3 over 20, take away, you get 17. Another way to think, as in 1 plus 2 is 3, and then you convert them in joint, and you still get the same answer. 2 ways. As long as it makes it easier for you to understand, that's fine. But I think I prefer it, just in case, because it might be sometimes roughly not bad. Show that 2 and 2/3 divided by 6 is 4 over 9. Let me clear that. Okay, that should be easier. Approximately 4/9. Okay. Now, when you start with this one, yeah. When you see divided by 6, what's special about it? Over 1, because 6 divided by 1 is 6. So you do it that way. You swap it. KFC methods. Keep, flip, change. So you do 8 times 1 is 8. 3 times 6 is 18. You divide by 2. You divide by 2. And I would get the same answer as this. So that is true. Oh. Simplify 2 minus 5, 2 to the power minus 5, times 2 to the power of a of squared, sorry. Give your answer as the power of 2. Okay, so when we times it, you always do bracket. when you do something, A, and I'm showing the rules so people can't forget. It would be equal A and times M. This is the rule. So, when we times it, you get minus 10. 8 times 2 is 16. So when you add something, 16 take away 10, it gets 2 to the power of 6. You get 2 to the power of 6. If you want to convert, you can do, so 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, and I think it's 64. That gives us 64. You don't have to put it if you want to, but it did say give as a power of 2. You can put 2 to the power of 6. Or you just put 6, I don't know. Work out of 0.004 times 0.32. Now, you first convert to 4, the smallest one, then this one. A lot of people made a mistake. Instead of they just wrote times it, but that's most confusing. So 4 times 320, you get 1,280. And then you keep repeating as digit back and forth until you get the answer of 0.00128. Or you can just do 1.28 times 10 to the power of minus 3. Because it's standard form, I mean, unless it says work out, but it didn't say standard form, but I'm just saying, but it just says standard form. If they do say standard form or simplified, they just give you that. They are both correct. But I would better recommend 0.0. Don't just assume it's the same answer. They just said once you work out. Our car factory is going to make 4 different cars models, A, B, C, and D. 80 people are asked which of the 4 models they would be mostly likely to buy. The table shows information about results. The factory is going to make 40,000 cars next year. Work out how many Model B cars the factory should make next year. 40,000 times 15, you get 16,000. So 60,000. That's it. 2 marks. Riza, write down 3 numbers A, B, and C. Find A to ratio B to ratio C. When you see the same number, join them. Yeah, lock in. So you get 12 times 2. Okay, it's a bit messy, so I'm gonna change it to. So it's gonna be 6, 4. So it'll be times 3 times 2. Okay, so this is, and then you can cancel this out. You can cancel these out. 1 times 2 gives us 10. 1 times 4 gives us 4. And then you get the answer of 4, 12, and 10. Express A as a fraction of total of the 3 numbers of A, B, and C. When we find A, B, and C in total, right, we get 4 over 26. Because it's 26, 20 out of 26. Because you add them all up, you join, you connect it. 4 plus 12 is 16. 16 plus 10 is 26. Because it says of the total of 3 numbers A, B, and C. So, 26. I'm going to write down 3 numbers of M, N, and P. Find M to the P. Okay. When you see this, people get confused, but actually it's not. You do 2M to the N, like same as before. When you get to 10, you times by 10 times 2. So you just cancel out. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times P is 2P. And then you simplify it. So you get 10P. So 10M. 10M to ratio P. A storage tank extends a force of 10,000 newtons on the ground. The base of the tank and the contact with the ground is at 4 by 2, 8 meters squared. Work out the pressure on the ground and do. Now, they give us a formula, thank God. When it says area, most people assume it's 4 is bigger by 2. No. If you do 4 times 2, you get 8, yeah? if you put 10,000 divided by 8 something, you have to do in your head. You can do boss math if you want to, but let's just assume 10,002 is 5,000, yeah? And half it again is 2,500. And then half it again is 1,250 if you are very good at it. So 1,250. That's the newtons divided by meters squared. Because it's a slash, that's why it's divided. Solve 5x divided by 2 plus 3 more than 18. That's where most people panic. Don't come for it. You do 5x plus divided by 2 plus 3, keep as it is. You put equals 18. And then you do 3 times 2 is 5x plus 6, 18. You subtract them. You cancel out 12, 15. You get the decimal approximately x equals 2.4. You can leave as a 12 over 5th if you want to. Same answers if you want to. But I would better recommend this fraction. That's it. If people can't figure it in head, just leave as a fraction. That's fine. It says non-calculator. That's fine. Sorry guys, this is my beeping. Last question. Factorize x squared plus 10x plus 9. When you do this, you factorize this. You would do times plus. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 plus 9 is 10. So you add them. If you want to show proof, you can just x times x is this. X plus 9x is 9x plus x is 10x, so it's plus 9. So it's plus 9. I hope that makes sense for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Please let me know if any questions. I hope that helps.